Time is produced by John DeSando. Listen to the full shows and read the reviews online at WCBE.org.
I'm John DeSando.
And I'm Mary Yerina.
And this is It's Movie Time. And Mary, J.R.R. Tolkien.
I'm glad you pronounced that correctly.
Boy, how can you miss it at the first 5 minutes of the movie?
It's drilled into your head.
Wow. So this is a name that conjures up so many fantasies for so many people who grew up on The Hobbit and the Ring trilogy and so on and all that stuff. What's this film do for us?
Well, as a biopic, I think it tries to provide context from his life that perhaps inspired these great works that have garnered and captured so many fans and their imagination, and continued to be very relevant today in what people seek out in fantasy literature, as evidenced by the tremendous success and following of the Peter Jackson trilogy of the Fellowship of the Ring.
Right. I think the film goes up maybe to, it looks like maybe he's in his 40s, he has kids.
I think so. I think that's about right.
So, do we get any insight, Mary? Because I agree with you. When I come to these biopics, I want to know right away what inspired this writer. I'm looking for it.
I think you definitely take away insights. And as somebody who, I must confess, I did not read J.R.R. Tolkien growing up, and really was introduced to him. I was aware of his works because my brother John was a huge fan and read them all, and I saw the films, and that really, I was pleasantly surprised in seeing the films. So I was really glad to have an opportunity to see Tolkien, the film, and I think the highest compliment I can pay is that even though I think there's probably a lot of artistic interpretation as to what truly inspired his writings,
I think you're right.
It made me want to perhaps read the books.
Yes, and
which I think is a good result.
I do too, and I think it's been success. It is successful for that, as others have been for me, and others have been just as disappointing. Now, the director, Mary, who is the director?
He's a Finnish man named Kurakowski, Thomas Kurakowski, and he's been making films for about 14 years.
Yes.
Mostly in Finland, but very highly regarded, has been nominated for and received a lot of awards both in Finland and throughout Europe. And I believe this is his first American film.
Yeah, and you know, he tries to do what you and I demand, which is, where is the inspiration coming? At times he's a little bit ham-handed.
I think it comes across sometimes as being I would say formulaic, not ham-handed.
Wait a minute. The stock, I would say stock, or the traditional shots of World War I are never easy.
Never easy.
And boy, they could substitute for each other. The warfare in the trenches, the going up above and being shot and so on, all seemed to me.
Well, and the constant threats in the trenches were very brutally portrayed.
Yes, right. And so it's successful in doing that. However, when you have flamethrowers coming and then you cut to a dragon, I think that's just a little bit too much.
Well, it's hard to fathom that in the heat of the moment, Tolkien actually was seeing that.
I know.
So
I know.
I think I would agree with you. The portrayal of that in the heat of the battle, probably went a bit too far.
I think so.
Because I think he was probably fighting for his life, although he did, in fact, develop trench fever, which, for those of you in the know about how you get trench fever, it's due to the lice that live in the trenches. And Tolkien did develop trench fever, so he was battling that as he was finishing his time in the Somme before he became too ill, and was then transferred out to a hospital in England. So he may very well have been hallucinating, which perhaps giving the director the benefit of doubt there.
I know where he's going. I mean, he's saying he could have been inspired by that, to think of it, and I so much appreciate that. And also, I don't know whether he called that group of young men a fellowship.
I don't know if he did.
I don't know if they did either.
But his group of school buddies that he develops in his boarding school became his his friends.
Yes.
And they all went off to war together, and sadly, two were killed on the Somme, which indeed may have inspired a lot of the work, the fantastical work that he later put together and produced.
I liked that the early sequences with his buddies. They're in private school. Tolkien has been favored to go to the school by his sponsor, or the priest, and these guys are all bright. They have bright futures, and I find that even without the director hitting hard on it, I find that a very inspiring, must have been inspiring for Tolkien to be around these very creative young men, and adding his future wife Lily, played by Lily Collins.
Edith.
To the group was great. But when they were together as buds and challenging each other intellectually, I found that very exciting.
It was very exciting, and you could really see why and how the bonds of friendship formed. They all had their own challenges. In Tolkien's case, he was an orphan at a very early age, and was being raised by the priest that his mother had designated for him, and he had to live in the confines of, the Catholic world, and also having this distant father figure. And at one point, his love of Edith is severely questioned by the priest, played by Colm Meaney.
Yes, great to see
a really
him.
good turn.
He's right.
He actually demands that he not have anything to do with this young woman until he turns 21 and is through school and is free to make his own decisions. And that, in fact, did happen.
Yes, it did, and how sad it was.
Very sad.
And I very much like Lily Collins' portrayal of Edith. I like her as a character, as I do in Extremely Wicked, which is coming out about Bundy, and she plays Bundy's almost fiancée, I think.
She's a very talented actress.
I think she is. She has a quiet depth about her.
She does, and she came onto the scene in Blind Side, playing the oldest sister of the family portrayed there. And she's gone on just in role after role. And I think playing Edith Tolkien is yet another role where she just really brings the character to life.
And my friend Mary here, being the researcher that she is, reminds me that she's Phil Collins' daughter.
She is.
So what a great pedigree.
A very great pedigree.
Well, I think, Mary, that it's about time for us to evaluate this film.
Okay.
And it is time for you to offer up your grade for Tolkien, starring Nicholas Hoult.
I'm going to preface my grade
Mary,
by saying it's somewhat of a formulaic.
Yes, it is.
Biopic. However, the acting and the direction and just the inspiration that I thought it brought as an interpretation for Tolkien's work, I give it a solid B. But I think people who really know Tolkien's life and have, know where his papers reside in archives and have, really know his life. I think the liberties that were taken with the timeline and some presumptions about what truly inspired his work, I think they may not enjoy the film as much as I did.
And I think those geeks who love the trilogy and The Hobbit and everything else are probably not going to be as satisfied as they might be. If they, and I'm just in total agreement with you. It is a solid B, bordering almost on a B+, because for your evaluation, which it is inspirational. It does make you want to go to his works.
Well, and it's a beautifully crafted film.
It is indeed. All right, Tolkien.
Tolkien.
Yep.